He hasn't touched his wife in 18 months, maybe longer. He's stopped counting. They share a bed, a mortgage, and a life together. But they don't share intimacy. No sex, no affection, no physical connection, just two people existing in the same space, managing logistics, raising kids, paying bills. And he stays. Not because he's happy, not because he's fulfilled, but because leaving feels impossible. Because the reasons to stay, despite the misery, outweigh the risks of walking away. Here's what nobody tells you. Sexless marriages don't just happen. They're maintained by fear, obligation, resignation, and a complex web of psychological and practical traps that keep men locked in situations that are slowly destroying them. This isn't about why marriages become sexless. This is about why men stay in them long after the intimacy dies. The 7 reasons that keep men trapped, and the toll that staying extracts from their mental health, physical health, and sense of self. Alpha lens mindset here. Let's break it down. Before we get into the reasons men stay, let me be clear about what we're talking about. A sexless marriage isn't about occasional dry spells or temporary periods of low intimacy due to stress, illness, or life circumstances. We're talking about chronic, long-term absence of physical intimacy, months turning into years, rejection becoming the pattern, desire dying not because of temporary obstacles, but because the relationship has fundamentally shifted into something that doesn't include sexual connection. And here's what most people don't understand. This isn't just about sex. It's about what the absence of sex represents. It's about feeling unwanted by the one person who's supposed to want you. It's about living with constant rejection from your partner. It's about the slow erosion of your sense of desirability, masculinity, and worth. It's about watching your wife show you every day through her actions, not her words, her actions, that you're not attractive enough, not desirable enough, not worth the effort. And despite all of that, despite the rejection and the pain and the slow death of your self-esteem, you stay. Why? Let me show you the 7 reasons. Reason 1. Denial. It's just a phase. The first reason men stay is denial. They convince themselves this is temporary, that things will get better. Once the kids are older and sleep through the night, we'll reconnect. Once she's done with this stressful project at work, things will improve. Once we get through this particular season of life, intimacy will return. They're waiting for the phase to pass, waiting for the circumstances to change, waiting for her to suddenly want them again. But here's the brutal reality. It's not a phase. It's the new normal. And the circumstances they're blaming are often just excuses that mask the real issue. She doesn't desire him anymore. The kids sleeping through the night doesn't create desire. The work stress ending doesn't create attraction. The season of life passing doesn't suddenly make her want physical connection. If desire is gone, it's gone. And waiting for external circumstances to change won't bring it back. But denial is powerful because it protects you from facing the harder truth. That you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't want you sexually. That you might be staying in a situation that won't improve no matter how long you wait. So you tell yourself just a little longer, while months turn into years. And you stay trapped in hope instead of facing reality. Reason 2. Religious or societal beliefs. I made a vow. The second reason men stay is commitment to their vows. For better or worse, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Many men take these words seriously, extremely seriously. Breaking those vows, even when the marriage is dead in every meaningful way, feels like a fundamental violation of their integrity. They made a promise. They committed before God, family, and friends. And walking away, no matter how miserable they are, feels like admitting they're not a man of their word. Society reinforces this. Real men don't quit. Marriage is hard work. You made a commitment, you honor it. The message is clear. Staying is noble, leaving is weak. But here's what nobody asks. What about her vows? What about the implied promise of partnership that includes physical intimacy? What about the commitment to meet each other's needs? Marriage vows don't say for better or worse, but intimacy is optional. They don't say, I'll stay with you no matter what you do or don't do. The vows are mutual. And when one person abandons their side of the partnership, the other isn't obligated to suffer indefinitely out of honor. But men carry the weight of those vows anyway. They stay because leaving feels like moral failure, even when staying is destroying them. Reason 3. Fear the grass won't be greener. Nobody else will want me. The third reason men stay is fear. Specifically, fear that if their current partner doesn't want them, no other woman will either. Years of rejection have convinced them they're fundamentally undesirable, that whatever made their wife lose interest is a permanent defect, that if they leave and try to date again, they'll just face more rejection from women who won't want them either. The logic goes, at least here I have companionship, shared history, a home. If I leave, I'll be alone and rejected by everyone, not just her. This fear is often irrational. Many men in sexless marriages are perfectly attractive to other women. The issue isn't their desirability, it's the specific dynamic with their wife. But years of rejection rewire your psychology. Your wife's lack of desire becomes your identity. You internalize her disinterest as evidence that you're fundamentally unwanted. So you stay in known misery rather than risk unknown rejection. You choose the devil you know, a sexless marriage, over the possibility of being alone or facing dating rejection. The fear of the unknown outweighs the pain of the known, even when the known is slowly killing you. Reason 4. Resignation. It is what it is. The fourth reason men stay is resignation. They've stopped fighting, stopped hoping, stopped trying to fix things. They've accepted that their life will be this way, that happiness isn't coming, that intimacy is gone forever, and they've made peace, if you can call it that, with permanent unhappiness. It is what it is becomes their mantra, not as acceptance that leads to action, as acceptance that leads to numbness. This is one of the most dangerous states because resignation breeds resentment, and resentment, when it has nowhere to go, turns inward or explodes outward. Some men turn to substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, anything to numb the pain of living in permanent rejection. Some turn to work obsession, burying themselves in career success because it's the only place they feel competent and valued. Some become emotionally dead. They go through the motions of life without feeling anything. They're physically present, but psychologically checked out. And some, when the resentment finally reaches critical mass, explode. They cheat. They leave suddenly and destructively. They do something impulsive and catastrophic because years of suppressed anger finally found an outlet. Resignation looks like peace from the outside. It's actually a powder keg waiting for a spark. Reason 5. Victim of emotional abuse. It's all my fault. The fifth reason men stay is they've been gaslit into believing the sexless marriage is entirely their fault. She's withheld intimacy for years, and every time he brings it up, she reframes it as his failure. If you helped more around the house, I'd want you. If you were more romantic, I'd be interested. If you listened better, I'd feel connected. If you weren't so pushy about sex, I'd be attracted to you. The goalposts constantly move. He does more around the house. She finds another reason. He becomes more romantic. She's still not interested. He stops initiating. She accuses him of not wanting her. This is emotional manipulation, and over time it conditions him to believe that her lack of desire is his responsibility. That if he just becomes good enough, attractive enough, helpful enough, attentive enough, she'll want him. But here's the reality. Withholding intimacy as punishment or control is abuse. Using access to physical connection as leverage to make him jump through endless hoops is manipulation. And many men stay because they've been convinced that leaving would prove they're the problem, that a good man would stay and keep trying, that if he just fixed himself, everything would improve. They've internalized the abuse as truth. And that keeps them trapped in a dynamic where they're constantly performing for scraps of affection that never come. Reason 6. The children. I can't leave my kids. The sixth reason, and often the most legitimate, is the children. Men stay because they're terrified of losing daily access to their kids. They know the family court system overwhelmingly favors mothers in custody disputes. They know that leaving the marriage often means becoming a part-time father. They picture weekends and alternating holidays. They picture missing bedtime routines, school events, the daily moments that make up fatherhood. They picture their kids growing up primarily with their mother, with a new man potentially filling the father role. And they can't do it. They can't voluntarily give up full-time fatherhood, so they stay in a sexless, loveless marriage to maintain their presence in their children's lives. This is the reason that makes the most sense to me. Because the stakes aren't just his happiness, they're his relationship with his children. And many men will sacrifice their own well-being to protect that relationship. But here's the brutal calculation. Staying in a miserable marriage doesn't just affect you, it affects your kids. They're watching a model of partnership that teaches them dysfunction is normal, that it's acceptable for one partner to be miserable as long as the structure stays intact, that love looks like two people coexisting without intimacy or joy. You're teaching your sons that it's normal for wives not to want their husbands. You're teaching your daughters that it's acceptable to withhold intimacy from their partners. The sacrifice you're making to stay might be damaging the very children you're staying for. Reason 7. Financial reality. I can't afford to leave. The seventh reason men stay is money. Divorce is financially devastating, especially for men. Legal fees alone can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Then there's splitting assets. The house, retirement accounts, savings. Then there's alimony in many cases. Then there's child support that often leaves men broke. Many men look at the math and realize leaving means financial ruin. It means living in a small apartment while paying for a house they can't live in. It means watching their standard of living drop dramatically while their ex-wife maintains the lifestyle they built together. It means potentially decades of financial obligation that leaves them unable to save, unable to retire comfortably, unable to build a new life. So they stay, not because they want to, because they literally can't afford to leave. This is especially true for men in their 40s and 50s. They've spent decades building financial stability. Divorce would destroy all of it right when they should be at their financial peak. So they do the math and decide that staying, however miserable, is less catastrophic than financial destruction. The trap is real, and it keeps men in dead relationships because the cost of freedom is higher than they can pay. Now let me show you what staying extracts from men. Because this isn't just about unhappiness. This is about systematic destruction of mental and physical health. Mental health deteriorates first. Chronic rejection chips away at self-worth. Every time he reaches for her and she turns away, his brain receives the message, "You're not desirable, you're not wanted, you're not enough." That message, repeated hundreds or thousands of times, rewires his psychology. Depression sets in. Not the kind you can point to and say, "I'm depressed because of this event." The slow, grinding depression that comes from living in permanent rejection. He withdraws from other relationships. Social connections weaken. Friendships fade because he has no energy for them. He's pouring all his emotional resources into surviving a marriage that's killing him from the inside. Self-esteem collapses. He starts to believe he's fundamentally unlovable, that his wife's disinterest is proof that he's defective, that any woman who knew the real him would reject him too. This is what chronic rejection does. It doesn't just make you sad, it makes you question whether you're worthy of love at all. Physical health follows mental health into decline. The stress of living in permanent rejection affects everything. Cortisol stays elevated, sleep quality deteriorates. It's hard to sleep peacefully next to someone who rejects you. Testosterone levels drop. Chronic stress and depression suppress testosterone production. And low testosterone creates a feedback loop. Lower energy, lower libido, lower confidence, which makes everything worse. Erectile dysfunction becomes an issue for some men. Not because they're physically incapable, because the psychological stress interferes with sexual function. And then that becomes another source of shame and inadequacy. Some research suggests chronic sexual frustration and lack of ejaculation can contribute to prostate issues. Whether that's causal or correlational is debated, but the stress on the body is real. Men in sexless marriages have higher rates of heart disease, high blood pressure, and other stress-related conditions. Because living in chronic rejection isn't just emotionally painful, it's physiologically damaging. And finally, there's the psychological toll of living in a dynamic where intimacy is used as control. Some women, not all but some, use withholding intimacy as the ultimate power trip. It's a way to maintain control over their husband's life and emotional state. When she controls access to intimacy, she controls him. He modifies his behavior, hoping to earn connection. He walks on eggshells to avoid doing anything that might make her less interested. He becomes focused on her moods, her needs, her comfort, because maybe if he does everything right, she'll want him. This is emasculation. He's no longer operating from his own frame. He's operating from hers, constantly seeking her approval, constantly performing for access that rarely comes. And the worst part is that this dynamic often kills whatever attraction remained, because women don't desire men who are desperate for their approval. The more he chases connection, the less attractive he becomes. The less attractive he becomes, the more he chases. It's a death spiral. So here are the 7 reasons men stay in sexless marriages. 1. Denial, believing it's temporary when it's permanent. 2. Vows and honor, feeling obligated to stay because of commitment. 3. Fear, believing no other woman will want them. 4. Resignation, giving up hope and accepting misery. 5. Emotional abuse, being gaslit into believing it's their fault. 6. Children, protecting their relationship with their kids. 7. Financial reality, unable to afford the cost of divorce, and here's what staying costs them: mental health, depression, shattered self-esteem, social withdrawal, physical health, stress-related illness, hormonal disruption, sexual dysfunction, emasculation, living under her control, constantly seeking approval they'll never receive. This is the trap. And thousands of men are living in it right now, wondering if they'll ever escape or if this is just their life forever. If this described your situation, drop "I'm one of the 7" in the comments below. Which reason keeps you trapped? And what's it costing you? Alpha Lens Mindset here. Thank you for watching. Stay sharp.